Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Continuing series on the MiSTer FPGA project. More specifically, in this instance, Jotego and his brand new Run and Gun Konami core, which just came out about an hour before I'm actually recording this voiceover. And it is fundamentally important for two big reasons. One, you get a brand new arcade game from Konami, which absolutely is a straight up awesome time. And two, this is leading into the development of a Capcom CPS III core with its frame buffer. And Jotego let everyone know a long time ago that Run and Gun was on the milestone list to start development of that Capcom CPS core, and it is here. Just don't forget, it is a brand new core, and every time that comes out, people comment and say, why can't I control it? Don't forget to set up your controls. I'm showing you once so you understand exactly what's going on. Now, this is still a beta. It's still going to have a couple of visual glitches and audio glitches, and it is going to be available just for Jotego beta members at this point in time. Now, there is one other big limitation to this game, but it makes 100% sense. This was a two-player game in arcades, but if you actually saw a two-player cabinet, there were two different monitors running two different screens, and that is because there was basically two different PCBs working in conjunction to make this a two-player experience. So as of right now, it is one player against the CPU because it isn't really in FPGA to have two different instances running to be able to play it, because you would have to basically output a second screen as well. So that's definitely something that I would love to see in the future, but as of right now, it's going to be a limiting factor, even if it is an understandable one. But obviously for a 2D game, this thing looks absolutely stunning and is about as close of an approximation of a full 3D environment as you could get back in this era. Konami absolutely knew what they were doing when it came to custom silicon to be able to play around with infinite planes, sprites, and the perspective to really make it seem like you're in a full 3D environment. And I would say that absolutely 100% works here, and it does look about as 3D as you can get. But honestly, the more exciting thing I think for most people is going to be that Jotego has stated again and again that getting Run and Gun working and getting that frame buffer incorporated into his own framework would allow for the development of Capcom CPS III. I'll get more into that later on in the video, but I want to talk just about the Run and Gun work here because that is the big news from the day. It is always incredible to get new arcade cores when they're as fun as something like Run and Gun. That's even more special because Jotego releases a lot of games. Some of them range in quality, at least on their release, from Hall of Fame first ballot games to some more deeper cut stuff. And that's not to say that each and every core isn't a big technical undertaking. I'm just saying that some releases definitely capture people's attention more than others, and at least for me personally, Run and Gun is a game I've been waiting to play. And even though it works in MAME, and if I wanted to, I could buy an original arcade board, I'm always happy to see new cores come to MiSTer FPGA on the arcade side of things. It is always a fun time. When they're as good as this, even better. Now you will see on the left hand side of the screen there is a little bit of garbage overdraw that will definitely get fixed up in the future, but as far as playing a full game in this one, you're going to be able to sit down, you're going to be able to pop your quarters in, and everything is going to work. Like I said, yes, it definitely still has a little bit of jank around the edges, but that is the Jotego beta process to AT. We're releasing cores that are able to be played and then kind of going back in and fixing them. And like I said, Capcom CPS III is probably the most requested core on the arcade side of things. And if you're not familiar with a frame buffer is, it's basically a way to store information in RAM for the next displayed frame. Sometimes there's a single frame buffer, sometimes there's a double frame buffer. They even go up to triple in some instances. It is just a way to basically deal with all of the graphics hardware and getting the images onto the screen. And think of it this way, if you're buffering the next frame that's going to be displayed, you need to do that a minimum of 60 times a second. It is not a small feat. And I'm sure we'll be getting some new updates on Capcom CPS III shortly from Jotego, because now these things are all lined up to start that process. And even though the Capcom CPS III has the most anemic library when it comes to any of Capcom's arcade boards, it has some of the best fighting games of all time on there as well, so it definitely is a win-win. As I've said in previous videos, Capcom CPS III hardware absolutely just straight up sucks having to deal with it. It breaks if you so much as look at it the wrong way or don't tickle it in the you-know-where parts and whisper sweet nothings in its ear. Let's go to a soundtrack sample after that weird statement. 45 seconds and I'll be right back with a lot more.
Back to game. Underneath, dumps it in. And number 3, 6-point differential for Red Hot Lead. seconds to go.
I mean, it definitely sounds like I would expect it to, but I'm not a run and gun expert in the audio department. But something like JoJo here on the Capcom CPS III, getting something like this on MiSTer FPGA would be incredible, because I will say even though software emulation of the CPS III is very good and definitely playable, I'd love to see something like more MiSTer FPGA usage in the tournament environment for people that do love these games, because just recently-ish, maybe the last year and a half or so, there was basically a tournament for Capcom CPS III hardware where they built some of the boards into actual TV enclosures. It was absolutely wild stuff, cost a fortune, so I'm sure MiSTer FPGA could have a good place as far as actually using these things competitively is concerned once it left beta and actually moved over to an actual retail release. But as we go through the actual end of the quarter here, you're going to see a little bit of that data overdraw as well. Seems like it's just actually loading up something in a RAM address to actually display what should be in that frame buffer, and it's just kind of copying it to the left side of the screen. Honestly, I could have cropped it out for this video, but I left it there because it is really important to talk about how the sausage gets made, for lack of a better term. And now that we're in the second quarter of Run and Gun and we went in with a lead, the CPU is absolutely going to take us into the back alley, shank us and leave us for dead, because just like NBA Jam, this is a game that wants to lull you in with a false sense of you're good at it, and then dial up the difficulty to 11, go outside and absolutely curb stomp you to make sure you put more quarters in the machine. But because it is an FPGA core, we don't really need to worry about the quarters at all. We can just kind of play the game, and I definitely recommend you check this one out. It is a ton of fun, and I get it, sports games aren't everyone's cup of tea, and honestly, depending on the title, I either love them or don't go anywhere near them. And even though something like Neo Turf Masters is still the best arcade sports game ever made in any sort of sport, I would say Run and Gun definitely is up there. It's the complete opposite of NBA Jam as far as the perspective is concerned, and getting this thing running in an FPGA core must have been no small feat, because the amount of hardware trickery on display here to get this to look like an actual 3D world is absolutely huge. And even though none of the Capcom CPS III games ever make it look like pseudo 3D, the same technology, at least on the frame buffer side, is going to be utilized for both, and that definitely is impressive. And I can't wait to see when we start getting more updates on CPS III and maybe even a test core. It's going to be one of those things everyone's been waiting for. It's been talked about for years, and now that we have the MiSTer FPGA Saturn core for a while now, we know the Hitachi SH2 CPUs are basically buttoned up. Now that isn't to say that every piece of silicon on the Capcom CPS III is shared with the Saturn, it is just down to the CPU side, but obviously Jotego and his team know exactly how to work with Capcom hardware, because we have stuff like Capcom CPS, CP- and CP System 2 on MiSTer FPGA utilizing the Q sound as well. So it's one of those things, a lot of learned knowledge will definitely be useful in the development of Capcom CPS III core on the hardware that is similar but maybe advanced. But as we move back to Run and Gun here again, I just love seeing this stuff. It's such a fun treat, and if you don't realize, my birthday is this week, so it is a fun birthday gift to me. I'm sure Jotego planned that just for me personally and none of you whatsoever, but the reality is he has no idea when my birthday is unless I told him. Let's do a second soundtrack sample, 45 seconds, and I'll be right back to tell you a little bit more.
Oh, selfish play. Missed the shot. Strip him up. Out of bounds. Takes it in. Boom. Great play. Fire from three. Lucky bounds. Best shot of the game.
I mean, not only is getting a new Konami arcade core an awesome day as far as I'm concerned, but getting the news that it is leading up to Capcom CPS III is even better. And even though I will always insist if I had my choice would be playing IGS PGM next, not the Capcom CPS III, I totally get that the popular sentiment is not with me, and I'm happy for everyone getting that CPS III core in the future. Because don't get me wrong, I love those games, I'll definitely play it. I just think that the IGS PGM could have used a little bit more love, and I think the MiSTer community would have brought that love to the table. But I'm sure that'll definitely happen in the future as well, because it's one of those systems absolutely has to happen, and draining that half-court shot absolutely straight up 69 out of 10 as far as my talent is concerned. But definitely the next time we hear CPS III information, I will update you guys in video form. Well, this was a really fun video to do on Friday. Now I'm going to actually go and play some more Run and Gun on MiSTer FPGA, even if it is in beta, even if it has graphical glitches, even if at this point in time MAME would be the cleaner looking version to play. I absolutely love playing in progress FPGA cores, and I'm sure you guys do too. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll try to answer each and every one of you, but I am going to be drinking basically all weekend long and eat some pizza. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.